this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on Ketu's nakshatra placement in your natal chart. So guys, after having our discussion on Rahu's nakshatra placement, where we try to figure out that when it comes down to the drive behind any of the unpredictable, unusual actions, functioning and behavior of Rahu in your natal chart, how can we figure out the same sort of behavior and attach it with Ketu's placement in your natal chart? Definitely guys, in modern day age, if Rahu is important for your growth, for fame prospects, but Rahu also has got a flaw side that it can actually distort or contaminate someone's character, someone's personality or someone's thought process. But when it comes down to Ketu, Ketu becomes very important because in your natal chart, it's the placement of Ketu only which can give you deeper insight into your past life actions, karma, and your some sort of idiosyncrasies, some sort of talents which are very natural to you, some sort of inclination which comes very natural to you. Like the way when people ask me that in my natal chart, do you have any scope of any superpowers or any extraordinary talents? The only planet which I see in order to find out that is the Ketu, that where Ketu is placed, in which nakshatra Ketu is placed, or how many planets are placed in the Ketu's nakshatra. So that is the only reason guys, in our life or in this lifetime, if you want to do something exceptionally good, you want to be a pioneer in your line of work, you want your flag to be hoisted in the world with that sort of monopoly and expertise, then you need to work with Ketu, or Ketu has to be in a strengthened state. The only reason guys why it becomes very difficult to work with Ketu, because Ketu demands complete surrender. And second thing is that Ketu represents that part of our destiny which is very difficult to evade. So you have to go through it and surrender needs to be over there. So yes guys, after that, now we will shift our discussion that in whichever nakshatra Ketu is going to be placed in your natal chart, what sort of soul lessons, what sort of kind of a drive it is going to give you. Because like the way I mentioned this thing, all those people who are in the influence and in the prominence of the Ketu, there is not always any attached rational explanation which you will find in their behavior. That becomes very natural to their personality. Like the way we say this thing that Rahu could be the most intelligent planet, but Rahu is very selfish as well. Whether native is doing very good in the life or whether native is suffering, there might be his own thought process which might be a reason behind it. But when it comes down to Ketu, so Ketu does not have a head like Rahu. Ketu deeply feel things. So all those people who are exceptionally good in the life without any rational explanation, and all those people who are brutal, who are very cruel without any rational explanation, all that could be attached as the behavior, traits or functioning of Ketu. So okay guys, now after this we will shift our discussion to understanding Ketu's placement in different nakshatra, which will tell you about the soul lessons and which will also tell you about the drive behind Ketu's functioning. So guys, definitely it's an open platform. We all learn from each other. I also learn lot many things from your participation in the comment section. So what I'm trying to say over here is that whatever I'm saying here, it's not like something carved in stone. So I'm just whatsoever I have found in my research, in the consultations which I give to people, I'm just making that study material for presenting this topic. So okay guys, let's start our discussion first with that. If you will find Ketu to be placed in any of the sun's nakshatra, like Ketu is placed in the Kritika nakshatra, Uttara Falguni nakshatra or the Uttarashadha nakshatra. So guys, that definitely first of all is a very good indication for finding success in the life, being a pioneer or being in the top of your chosen field, being very critical. Second thing is that definitely there might be some sort of regality, royalty which you might have acquired from the past life as well. Like let's say for example, if with this kind of placement in your chart, you have like for example your Ketu to be placed in the any of the like trine houses. Like for example, you are a Aries Lagna and like Ketu is placed, because Ketu nakshatra definitely falls in the fire signs. So your Ketu is placed in any of these trine houses, and along with that your sun individually is also very well placed. It is placed in its own sign. Like for a Aries Lagna, if Ketu is placed in the first house in the Kritika nakshatra, and the sun is very well placed in the 5th house, in the Leo, in its own sign. So that it will definitely add up to this, that some sort of regality, some sort of royalty native might have enjoyed in the past lifetime, and that will definitely reflect in his behavior. That will definitely be a driving force for native, specifically in the time period of the Ketu. Because again guys, I have mentioned Ketu does not have a head, it can only feel it. So its nakshatra placement will definitely give you an insight that what exactly is driving this headless person in the time period of Ketu. So whether guys your Ketu is placed in the like Kritika or the Uttara Falguni or Uttara Shada, that degree and sense of kind of aligning yourself or getting into alliance with important people or people who are best in their chosen field, staying close to them and having that unique identity in the world. And second thing is that definitely if Ketu is going to be placed in the any of the sun's nakshatra, so native might also be very consciously alert and aware about his public image, about his identity as well, how he is being talked about in the society, in the world. All of that will become very important. And lastly guys, definitely if other aspect of the chart are supporting it, ascension to the power will definitely become very easy. And if the whole chart is very karmic, this is like that sort of combination where native's opponent automatically surrender to the kind of progress of the native. So circumstances, the force of nature always defend or support the native in order to climb to that position or power. Now guys, when we talk about that Ketu is placed in any of the moon's nakshatra, like in the Rohini nakshatra, in the Hasta nakshatra or in the Shravan nakshatra. So definitely guys, Ketu sees moon as its arch enemy, and the only reason for that is Ketu does not want to think. Ketu do not want to be in this mode of mood swing. Whatever Ketu wants to do, it has to do in a very short span of time and with that extreme force, like putting everything at your disposal to get things done. That is what the force of Ketu is. And if you will find that Ketu is placed in the moon's nakshatra, so again guys, Ketu in itself is considered, like Rahu and Ketu, they are considered as the dark side or shadow of the moon in itself. So first of all, access to the talents and intuitive aspect will tend to remain very strong in the life of the native. Like rather I would say that there will definitely be certain very strong inclination. Like in lot many cases it has been seen that in the past lifetime native died because of drowning in the water, and in this lifetime he will have innate and natural fear towards a deep ocean or water. So some sort of peculiarities and idiosyncrasies in the behavior. Now this could be a case that if your Ketu is placed in the Rohini, so this could be a case that you very easily get smitten by the beautiful looks, beautiful things, or this could be a case that any of these temptations do not affect you, do not influence you, do not distract you. Same is the case with, like, let's say for example, if Ketu is placed in the Hasta nakshatra. Now Hasta is considered as one of the most proficient, one of the most skilled. So that will definitely tell about that some sort of talents which has been acquired from the past lifetime. You might have an expertise in a specific field or specific skill. And definitely guys, if you're like Ketu is placed in the Shravan nakshatra, so Lord Vishnu is strongly connected with the Shravan. So those tendency to like being a provider, like you might have a big businesses, you might run very big charities, you might have connection with important people, you have your big travel shipping company. So those sort of talents, those sort of potential can be attached with this placement of Ketu in any of the moon nakshatra. But the good thing is that guys, if your personality has any specific peculiarity, that might have something to do with the experience on the same front in the past lifetime. Now guys, when we talk about that, if your Ketu is placed in the any of the Mars's nakshatra, like in the Mrikshira nakshatra, in the Chitra nakshatra, or in the Dhanishta nakshatra. So definitely guys, when we talk about Ketu coming in any influence of the Mars, is always like a ticking bomb, or is always like a triggering factor. So first of all guys, you have to understand this thing, that the good part in this case is that even the Mrikshira Chitra, like the nakshatra of the Mars, irrespective of the fact carrying too much energy and thrust in them, they are considered as very friendly, very mridu, so means very soft. So the point over here is that if you will inculcate the traits of any of these Mars nakshatra, or you're already operating in these department or domain with expertise in any specific field, like this could be a case that you are a researcher, you are an explorer, which could be a domain of Mrikshara, or anything to do with the designing, aesthetics. And we all know this thing, when we see all those embellishment, those jewelry which needs very precise work, so that could be a domain of the Chitra. And definitely guys, when we talk about Dhanishta, which has everything to do with the music, with the prominence, your capacity to move people. So the concern over here is that Ketu being in the Mars nakshatra can actually make you very self-willed, can actually give you very strong determination, something to do in the domain of the research, exploration, deeper nuances, and never say die approach and attitude will come naturally to the native. And definitely guys, like the way we say this thing that it's the influence of Ketu only which you will find in the charts of all those people in whose case any body part is missing, they have been operated upon, or they are by themselves working as a surgeon, as a doctor. Again, it's a line. If you are not utilizing the energy of that planet, you could be on either side. You could be a doctor, surgeon, daily operating the patients, or you are on the patient side. And that incident happened at the time period of the Ketu. But the thing is that Ketu being in the Mars nakshatra can definitely make you a very strong force to upon. It can actually make you a very forceful person who will have this capacity to function in extremities. I was like watching this reel on Instagram that can you do a job in this environment where people in any of the shipping firm or oil extraction industry, they were being shown working in such a hard environment, doing their job. So something like that, you have that potential and capacity. And again guys, that cannot be overlooked, that just looking at Ketu's placement in the Mars nakshatra is not very sufficient, but that will also tell about that either in the past lifetime the death took place because of some weapon, or in this lifetime you're very precise with the usage of any specific weapon. Like this could be you have got a very precise aim when it comes down to shooting. So something of that nature can also be attached with this placement. Now guys, let's say for example, if your Ketu is placed in any of the Mercury nakshatra, like this could be Ashlesha, this could be Jeshtha, this could be Revati. So again guys, we all know this thing that all these are the Gandmul kind of combination. So that also tells about the soul trapped in the karmic knot from the past. So first of all, definitely this is a kind of a experience where a lot many times it has been seen that the drive for the numbers, the drive for the commercial success will come naturally to the native. With this kind of placement, it can also give native some sort of natural inclination towards specific language, foreign languages, or any specific form of trade, where native will have this capacity, any specific peculiarity. Again guys, if I were to share my own experience as well, like all those authentic, here I'm not talking about the shams and the charlatan and the frauds, but all the authentic people with some with their open third eye and very elevated. So all of them, I still remember when they saw my chart, they always said this thing that you will have expertise in any one specific field. So, and definitely that was Jyotish which I found, because apart from Jyotish, I see myself in all other areas. It was like I never took it so seriously that I'm obsessed with it. But when it comes down to Jyotish, and definitely the way my life turned out ever since I embraced and I accepted Jyotish in my life, I've seen that difference. So the point which I'm saying over here is that if your Ketu is placed in the any of the Mercury nakshatra, first of all guys, like the way I mentioned this thing, there could be a conflict in this regard that first of all, the journey is not going to be very easy, because like the way I mentioned this thing, Ketu is a planet of extremities, and with Mercury there's a lot of intelligence, there is a lot of rationality which is attached over there, and along with that a Gandamul kind of alignment is also getting formed over here. So that in itself tells about that when we talk about certain cases where there is a speech related concern, there are skin related concern, there are like nervous system related concerns that could be because of this sort of alignment. And again guys, when we are talking from Ketu's point of view, so your past is connected with it. So that could be a case that you might have used these things in order to harm, in order to exploit, in order to take advantage. Or this could be a case that you actually utilized it. Now this could be a case that you were a preacher, you were a shaman, you were a healer in the past lifetime, and your words only acted as a trouble remover for lot many people. So when your Ketu is placed in the Mercury nakshatra, it opened the door towards all these kind of possibilities. And definitely guys, when we talk about Ashlesha, so Ashlesha is a kind of a sensitive alignment where sensitivity towards certain kind of drugs, certain sort of medicine, certain sort of antibiotics or animals could be seen. Poisonous reptiles can be seen. Again, it all comes down to you might be controlling them, might be having an expertise or a natural phobia or fear towards them. And again guys, when we talk about Jyeshtha, so with your Ketu in the Jyeshtha, there will definitely be that innate drive and sense to go to any extent to ascend to the position and power. And definitely guys, when we talk about Ketu being in the Revati nakshatra, so this is one of the very best placement, and there's a lot of spiritual elevation capacity for those who have their Ketu placed in the Revati nakshatra. Now guys, and again guys, because it's a karmic alignment, so it could be a case that on a material plane, the dasha of Ketu might take a lot away from you, but it will give you something which is going to be very transcendental in nature. Now guys, when we talk about your Ketu placed in the Jupiterian nakshatra, definitely nothing could be better than that. This is like a blessing which has been attached from the past life to you. And again guys, if Ketu is placed in like Punarvasu nakshatra, Vishakha nakshatra or the Purvabhadrapada nakshatra, so the thing is that there's a slight possibility that native might go extreme in terms of the abiding by the religion, abiding by the religious doctrines, and which will definitely be getting more accentuated if your Ketu is placed in the Purvabhadrapada. Even the god which presides over the Purvabhadrapada is the Aja Ekapada, so one-footed demon god with a goat kind of resemblance. So that is the only reason if your Ketu is going to be placed in the Purvabhadrapada, so that fundamentalist and very extremist sort of ideologies and all, the tendency of that might come into the forefront. This could be a case, or this could be a cycle which might have initiated from the past life as well. And again guys, when we talk about Vishakha, with Vishakha, again guys, with Vishakha, I'm not seeing you very vulnerable, but definitely that degree and sense of getting into research, getting into the root of the things, getting obsessed with something, and specifically in terms of the religious exploration and all, so that potential will definitely remain very strong if your Ketu is placed in the Vishakha. And guys, Ketu's placement in the Punarvasu, we all know this thing that for Punarvasu natives, in order to land at one place of their real life true calling in this life, they might have to go through lot many changes and transformation. So the thing over here is that Ketu is a very unreasonable planet. So that tells about that whatsoever is meant for you, before landing at there, you might have to change lot many profession, you might have to make very like multiple attempts, then only you will be able to find your niche. But guys, the good part over here is that if your Ketu is placed in any of these Jupiterian nakshatra and you are very devout in your religion, in your religious austerities, practice it very sincerity with sincere efforts and all, so definitely it will put you in the right places at the right time, and luck will always support you, like your guardian angels or your aura is going to be very divine. Now guys, when we talk about your Ketu being placed in any of the Venusian nakshatra, like this could be Bharni, this could be Purva Falguni or Purva Shadha. So definitely guys, first of all, these all nakshatras have got very feminine energy attached to them. And like the way, if you go by the doctrines of the Lal Kitab, so it sees Venus as the cow and Ketu as the calf. So the point which I am trying to say over here is that definitely your see, if we take all the nakshatras one by one, when we talk about Bharani, which has got very childlike innocence, transformative power and very magnetic attraction, creative talents. So Ketu's placement in the Bharani will definitely tell about something connected to this domain. You might have got some expertise in this domain from the past lifetime as well. Like the way we say this thing that even one of the Ketu nakshatra is Ashwini, which is considered as very good even for helping people who have got any fertility related issue. So Ashwini Kumars, like one of the nakshatra of Ketu, is considered as very adept in all these sciences, in all these herbs. So the point over here is that your Ketu being placed in the Bharani, it will definitely give you some sort of expertise from the past lifetime in all these departments. Ketu's placement in the Purva Falguni will definitely make you very extreme in all these departments. Like definitely guys, Ketu's placement in the Purva Falguni will definitely drive you towards a comfortable life. And native generally, like attainment of position, power and attached comforts is generally seen whenever you will find Ketu placed in the Purva Falguni nakshatra. And guys, when we talk about Ketu being placed in the Purva Shadha nakshatra, that becomes very extreme placement, extreme likes and dislikes, and these are among those people who tend to remain achiever in any specific field. So yes guys, that is how you can see Ketu's energy functioning in any of the Venusian nakshatra. Now comes the tricky part and the twisted part. I would say the attached encrypted karmic knot, which is if you will find Ketu placed in any of the Saturnian nakshatra. So again guys, the good part over here is that we forget to overlook the importance and auspiciousness attached with the Saturnian nakshatra. Saturn might be a very strict task master, but the nakshatras of Saturn, like Pushya is considered as one of the most auspicious nakshatra. Like in Muhurta as well, lot many auspicious yogas are formed with the contribution coming in from the Pushya nakshatra. So the point which I'm trying to say over here is that if you will find that your Ketu is placed in the Pushya nakshatra, so that in itself is a very good indication for becoming a healer or some sort of nourishment. Like your aura will definitely carry that sort of blessing and auspiciousness. And definitely guys, if this alignment is taking place in any of the houses where you are counseling people, where you are comforting people, where you are healing people, you are like working as a doctor, as a psychologist, as a therapist. So Ketu's placement in the Pushya, which has everything to do with the nourishment portion. So I would say that it is a very fortunate and a very good placement, and that is what will definitely remain a drive behind any of the actions of Ketu. Now guys, when we talk about your Ketu being placed in the Anuradha nakshatra, now Anuradha has got a lot to do with the devotion, with the bhakti path. So I would say this thing that there is a slight possibility that if your Ketu is placed in the Anuradha and it is taking place in some of the houses which are very strongly connected with devotion, with surrender, like your Ketu is in the for example in the Anuradha, and it is placed in the 5th house, it is placed in the 9th house, it is placed in the 12th house. And so not only it can give you or it can validate some sort of blessing which comes from the past lifetime, devotion attached to any specific god, but also guys, in today's modern age, like where we talk about all those people who become they become the head of any of the religious institution. So that could also be a combination of that as well. Now guys, after that, like if you will find your Ketu to be placed in the Uttar Bhadrapada nakshatra. So again guys, with Uttar Bhadrapada as well, there is a lot of the spiritual potential attached to it. So you can look at it in this way that you will be considered and seen as someone who's got a very good counseling abilities, and that will come very natural to you. So again guys, specifically all those fields where you have to make use of your intuition as well in order to help, in order to heal, in order to counsel people over there as well. And this could be a case that in the past lifetime you have got some expertise in the similar department as well. So let's say for example, if this has been your experience so far, that whomsoever come with a problem to you and after meeting you they feel very relieved, so that could be a case that your Ketu's working in the Uttar Bhadrapada nakshatra, and these sort of talents and these sort of activities you have been engaged from the past lifetime as well. But yes guys, if Ketu is placed in any of the Saturnian nakshatra, your actions, your karam in this lifetime might have a very strong connection and affinity with something, a cycle which has been initiated by the soul from the past lifetime as well. After that, guys, if you will find your Ketu to be placed in the Rahu's nakshatra. So guys, we all know that Ketu is placed in like Ardhara nakshatra, like Swati nakshatra, Sadbisha nakshatra. So again, guys, this is a kind of a combination of little bit sort of definitely it's a very karmic alignment, but along with that, it is a very where the free will definitely be at its minimum. I mean to say, whenever the time period of the Ketu will come, life will take very unusual turn, unusual changes. Like the way we say this thing, that in not many cases, if there is one planet which has got this potential and capacity to bring a major change in your life in a very short span of time. So this is those sort of placement where it will be very difficult to predict in which fashion it is going to be working out. So complete surrender to the higher powers will be needed with this sort of placement. So again, guys, it is a very chaotic placement. Like whether you talk about, like for example, Ketu being placed in the Ardhara, and there's a strong possibility that with this alignment on the opposite end, Rahu might be placed in the Ketu's nakshatra as well. So it is a typical karmic knot. Whatsoever is meant for you, it will come at the right times, rather than you running behind it or kind of crying out any victim story. And that is one of the remedy which we advise, that if you are strongly in the influence of Ketu being placed in your first house, Ketu being placed in your seventh house, you are going through Ketu dasha, so never beat around making a spectacle of your issue, of your problems. So in one of the remedy of the Lal Kitab, with Ketu's placement in the 7th house, it is advised as a remedy that do not exaggerate and beat around your problems, your woes, your troubles to everyone in the public. So it's not a right way of dealing with Ketu's energy. So point which I'm trying to say over here is that unusuality and idiosyncrasies will come, and along with that, if your moon is involved in this alignment, your Ketu being in the Rahu nakshatra and moon is also a part of it, then this is a typical combination. Like guys, ADHD, bipolar disorder, these kind of psychological turmoil and anguish. But that does not mean that you cannot be a genius. There has been those scientists which have been found and diagnosed with these kind of concerns as well. I guess there was a movie which was made, A Beautiful Mind, and lot many psychic and intuitive people as well. So do not take it as a problem, as an anathema, as a curse. This could be a biggest blessing and gift for you as well. So again, guys, Ketu being in the Ardhara will become very chaotic. Ketu being in the Swati will definitely give you very deeper deeper sense of bonding and networking in the society. So you will have this capacity to attract like-minded people and get into strong bond with these people as well. And if your Ketu is placed in the Sadbisha nakshatra, definitely you are a psychic, you are very intuitive, you are very healer, and some sort of expertise and knowledge in any specific form of herb or healing will come naturally to you. And guys, when we talk about Ketu being placed in its own nakshatra, so definitely guys, this is a Ketu in its purest form. Your Ketu is placed in the Ashwini nakshatra, in the Magha nakshatra, or in the Mool nakshatra. So that in itself tells about that your Ketu energy is working in its purest sense. So in whichever house it is going to be working out in your life, it will definitely demand a lot of surrender and very spiritual lifestyle. So Ketu being in the Ashwini, definitely the power of healing, knowledge of herbs will come natural to you. Ketu in the Magh, and there is a strong possibility that if your sun is very well placed in the chart, it is a very good combination for ascension to power, or that sort of some regality, royal taste and royal treatment you would have enjoyed in the past lifetime as well. And guys, Ketu in the Mula, so Mula could be a very transformative force to beckon upon, to deal with. So Ketu's placement in the Mula will definitely demand complete devotion and surrender to the Lord Ganesha. And like the way we say this thing, with Ketu being in the Mool, there could be a possibility that you might have got expertise in specific branch, specific form of herb, Ayurveda, or you might be a scientist, or you might have in this lifetime, there's a strong possibility for devoting your complete life to any one specific cause or some sort of cycle which has been initiated from the past lifetime, which you will be engaged in this life as well, can be seen with this alignment of Ketu in the Mool nakshatra. Again guys, at the end, if I were to summarize the remedy of Ketu, so devotion to the Lord Ganesha becomes very, very, very important. Being of service to the dogs And lastly, taking out time for doing meditation becomes very important. So yes guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyawad.